Good day. This is the Think Doctor, Pastor Phil. We're right here in Acts chapter 15. I want you to expect the Spirit of God to do something great for you, just like He's doing for this. And Peter and Barnabas have gone down to Jerusalem to defend the power of the gospel going out among the Gentiles. And the apostles and elders in verse 6 met to consider the matter. After an exhaustive inquiry, Peter stood up and addressed them in these words: Men and brothers, you know that from the earliest days God chose me as the one from whose lips the Gentiles should hear the word and should believe it. Now, Paul's going back and reminding them of something they knew from over 11 years earlier when Jesus confronted Paul and the apostles met with him and understood, yes, this is Paul and he's doing something a little bit different than what we're going to do. So Peter goes back to that and he says, let's don't forget what God has taught us in the past just because we haven't experienced it. Can I say that to you? Don't forget what God has taught you just because your experience doesn't match. Don't forget what God has taught you because your experience doesn't match. Sometimes it takes your experience some catch-up time to what you know and what you have faith in. And you have faith and you have faith and you have faith and you believe it, but you don't see it for a season. Don't forget what you know because your experience doesn't match your understanding, your belief, and your faith. Stay with your understanding, your belief, and your faith. Let God work it out. And that's what Paul's saying. He's saying, we've known this, and now we're working it out. Let's don't get confused just because your experience doesn't match for the last 11 years, however long. What we knew when Peter stood up on the day of Pentecost and said, the gospel is for all men and all nations. And Paul appeals to his call of God. He has a specific call of God that others don't have, and he appeals to that. He says, let's don't forget who I am, who you are, and what God's told us just because our experience doesn't match. And he said, by the way, my experience is matching, and I want yours too. I want your experience to measure up and match, according to faith and belief, what God has put into you. Father, I pray for my friend that stirred up inside of them is great faith in Jesus Christ that causes them to begin to touch and feel and see those things that they have had faith that maybe their experience doesn't match yet. I love you because the great love of Jesus Christ, he loves me and he loves you.